I started with electronics and then programming. And then after my bachelor's, I was focusing more on the software side. I'm working on my passion basically. Yeah.
Mostly people who are getting into robotics are interested in software and getting away from electronics and mechanical. Software gets evolved a lot as compared to the hardware. Is that true, or what's your opinion on that? How you came to the point that books should be the medium of delivering the quality knowledge about ROS?
So before writing books, I was blogging actively. I had a blog called Technolabs. And then after seeing my blog, the publisher approached me.
If a person is starting out, individual person, how should he be focusing on getting the work or finding some clients? What should be the process and what should be his approach? A person's level of understanding about ROS, how we can categorize this, then this is intermediate, then this is advanced person.
The AI or the tech is rapidly changing. By learning a single framework like ROS or OpenCV, it's not enough. Rather than learning all the framework, you have to be a person who can solve the problem faster and adapt quickly or learn quickly. So that is the main skill that you have to develop in this age. Otherwise, you will be outdated.
Today we have a very special guest, Lentin Joseph, who is an author of 10 robotics books, mainly focusing on ROS. He is also CTO of Runtime Robotics. Let's find out what he has to say with the community of robotics, specifically India community of robotics. So hi Lentin, how are you?
Hi, Mohammed. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good.
That's great. It's an honor for me after spending a lot of time with your books and some robotics guidance that you have provided. And in the start, specifically, your books helped me a lot in the area that I was working. And now we are here. And I think I'm not alone. There are a lot of people who have found your books very useful and you have been shared a lot. Coming to the point of robotics, how you got into robotics and when?
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, it's a long story, but I can make it as short. It's mainly because of my interest in electronics and computer science. From my school days itself, I had this interest in making circuits and programming mainly. So that interest actually came into, I mean, while I was doing my bachelor's, I could able to merge all my interests, and that area is robotics. So that's how I'm coming to the robotics domain. So I can able to work on all the domains that I'm interested in. Like working on robotics, you need to know like knowledge in electronics, programming, mechanical, all this stuff, right? So I had this interest, and in robotics I could able to integrate everything. So that's how I started with robotics. I'm working on my passion basically. Yeah.
That's great. So, as robotics is, as you mentioned, is a multidisciplinary field.
Yeah.
Coming from, you are coming from focusing on electronics background. Now, I want to know more about what you currently are doing and how things have changed starting from the electronics and from now.
Yeah. So I started with electronics and then I got interested in the programming. And then after my bachelor's, I was focusing more on the software side. I mean, I can able to create prototypes and everything, but my focus was mainly into the robotic software. So after my bachelor's, I joined in a company where my position was robotic software engineer. I worked for 3 years and started my company, and I was mainly focusing on the software itself. So mainly using ROS. So I will say from 2010, I'm mainly into the robotic software.
Can I ask the reason that mostly people who are getting into robotics are interested in software and getting away from electronics and mechanical? What my personal opinion is that it is software gets evolved a lot as compared to the hardware. Is that true, or what's your opinion on that?
No, I didn't feel like that. I'm still interested in the hardware and prototyping, all these things I'm interested. But I don't know, like at some point of time, my focus shifted to the software domain because I found that we can create a lot of application in the software. Like if you use a framework like ROS, we can create a lot of robotic application. But once we prototype a robot, the hardware is done, right? Then after creating the hardware, the entire application is on the software side. So that may be the reason I was focusing on the software side. Yeah. But I'm not saying like getting away from the hardware. I'm still in touch, but I found software is having lot of potential. Like if we compare the computer application, once we bought a computer, I mean there are many applications that we can build, right? Like that, if we buy a robot, there are a lot of software application that we can build. So I think software has a lot of potential once we build the hardware.
Definitely. So, talking about Ross, and you most of your book focus on Ross as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting with the very basic but very important question: how do you define Ross with your experience, and how do you think of it in the terms of robotics?
Yeah, so maybe I can explain how I coming to the roast development. I was a fan of open source software. I like Linux. I like all the open source software and the concept as well. So that's how I am coming to know about ROS in 2010. At that time itself, I really liked that framework. There is no reason for that. I found that ROS is open source and I like open source. I like robotics. So I thought, like, what about learning this framework? And eventually, that become my bread and butter. So that's how it's happened. So it's basically, I will say, a coincidence. I got to know about the Rose framework and fell in love with it. That's the correct word. And from 2010 up to now, I'm still on it.
Oh, that's great. So you have been developing and providing solutions. That's what I'm understanding. The concept of books uh, at that time, when there was very few content available about robotics, not robotics, ROS specifically, and people wanted to learn ROS. How you came to the point that books should be the medium of delivering the quality knowledge about ROS and its applications?
Yeah, so before writing books, I was blogging actively. I had a blog called Technolab. So from 2010 itself, I started working on Rose and then write blogs about it, the works. Like I was working on, I still remember I was working on Rose, Diamond Black, I mean Sea Turtle, the old version of Rose. And then I used to write blogs about it. And then after seeing my blog, the publisher approached me and I thought it will be easy, but that was a wrong decision. And I understood that it is very, very difficult. And once I started, there is no comeback, right? Because I already written 2 3 chapters and I can't stop it. Then I mean used to write chapters and completed it. And the first book obviously taken 1 year, and then I understood the drill, how to write. Then I started keep on writing the books because I understand how difficult it is, and I know how to write. So immediately I got the next offer, that is the mastering rose. And then I was completely into that because like the mastering series is more advanced compared to the learning series. So I was doing research on it, and I spent a lot of time on it. And then within 6 months of time, I could able to finish it. So like that, all these books, it's just a coincidence. That's it. I didn't have any plan to write a book or something. It just came, an offer just came, and then I just accepted. And I found that it is difficult, but somehow I keep moving. And then after completing one project, I understand how we can write a book. And then I
Okay,
just,
okay.
I mean,
At that point, books were an amazing source. It was the time when I was sort of starting out
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
looking
I know,
toward
I know,
things.
I know. Yeah, you were like, I mean, creating the tutorials, all this. Yeah, I was also following you, by the way.
That's good. So coming to your journey, you were having an entrepreneurial background, started a company. Before that, you worked as a software developer. Then you shifted to research, and I want to understand the decision, also the experience specifically from software development to pure research, and then you came back to software development again.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I can talk about my experience. So I found that I am not a good fit for research. I mean, the core research. I am good at the engineering aspect of it, like implementation and then teaching. So many of my friends actually suggest, oh, why can't you go for a PhD or something like that? So I found that I'm not a good fit. Still, I'm thinking that. And research is hard. For some people, research, I mean, they will be having a niche in that, but I found that my interests are mainly in the engineering side, and I found some comfort in that. I'm not saying that I can't do research, but I'm more inclined to the engineering side, the implementation side.
Okay. Okay. So in robotics, we have a lot of projects talking about core robotics, as there are algorithms, there are new things coming out. Then we have, as you mentioned, engineering part of the framework that we have. So how one should be balancing it in the current requirements that come from clients or the person who you provide service to? How should we balance the robotic theory and this implementation part?
Yeah, so we have to balance, like, take the project based on that. So mostly I will take the project that is having more engineering works rather than research work. But if there is, I mean, research side of it, not much. If there are minimal research side of it, I can handle it. But if it is a pure research, then I will be maybe tying up with some other people, like to explain the mathematics side of it. Maybe imagine, like, if they are sending a research paper and implement it. So in that case, maybe I need some help from other, like they can read the paper, understand the algorithm, and guide me how to implement it. I will take some help, like if there is any core research project comes, I will be collaborating with people.
Coming to the work that you are currently doing, and interestingly, it's robotics oriented, but it's remote at
Yeah.
Runtime Robotics that we found. Now, talking about that, remote work is mostly software as preferred by the companies. Definitely, that's a fact. Now, coming to that, if a person is starting out, individual person, how should he be focusing on getting the work or finding some clients? What should be the process and what should be his approach?
Yeah, yeah. Getting a remote work is hard. I can surely say that. I can share my experience how I start getting project, and what are the kind of project that I can work remotely, and what are the challenges. So the main reason I was getting project was books, my books basically. So from my books, I got some recognition, and people getting to know about me, and then they ask me, like, whether you can do the project or not. Then I started taking projects, so that is the main source. And then I also ask to people, sometime I will also like talk to people, like whether you have any project, like when I'm seeing them in the some conferences, or I will message them if you have any project. So that is also one way. And I think we have to prove ourselves. That is one thing that you have to understand. If we prove our skills, like especially by building a strong portfolio, I think it's doable. And most of the aspect of the software maybe we can do remotely, but when it comes to the hardware, it is difficult. We have to use some remote application, like there are multiple remote application that you can log in into the robot computer and able to test it. So we have to relate, and there should be some engineers in the robot side, actual robot side, so that they can help you with the testing. So working remotely with the real robot, it is difficult, but working remotely for implementing maybe simulation and implementing some modules for the robot application, it is possible. But when compared to the web development or app development, it is not easy. I mean, the robot software development is not that easy for doing remotely.
So, as it's software oriented, so the person who is getting into it should be good with the software as well, on
Yeah.
as Q&A side, testing side, and all of
Yeah.
this. So, what do you recommend for a starter? The language, the framework. Framework we understand, Ross, but the approach to can you provide a simple example so things can become more clear?
Yeah, I mean, not only skills, the foundation is obviously the problem solving. Like when you get a project, when you get some requirement, you should able to solve it somehow, and implementation is coming after that, like how to implement. But before that, we should have an idea like how to solve it. So you should be a good problem solver, I will say. And also, it will be good if you have a decent amount of mathematical knowledge. Not that great, but basic understanding, and the programming know-how. And the frameworks actually coming at the last section, because if you want to implement an application, for example, a robot application, maybe the client will say you don't need to use ROS. In that case, you have to implement everything from scratch. So learning framework is good. Like you can learn ROS or OpenCV, any framework you can learn, and it's based on the client requirement. You are going with the framework. So I got some project and they don't need to use ROS. So in that case, I have to implement from scratch. So it will be better to have all these skills with you, but ROS is not everything, or you can't do everything with ROS or something. The basic skill you need is the problem solving.
Coming to the part of knowledge and people learning robotics, in that scenario, you have also a platform, Robo Academy, that I was looking at. It provides learning paths. Now, as you have been teaching as well, so what do you find that is lacking in the students, and what students should be focusing and they are missing out in the online learning space specifically?
I can talk about Robo Academy. It's a side project basically. I'm a person who likes to do multiple projects in robotics, and at the same time, I like to teach. So when I get time, I will start a course and I will start teaching rows mainly. So I am taking live sessions because I can reach out to more people. I am also taking offline session like in universities and all I am taking, but with a limited set of audience. With online, I believe I can reach out to more people around the globe, and they can ask questions. I mean, I'm taking the live sessions basically, so they can ask doubts. And obviously, it's not easy to learn rows. That is the reality that you have to understand, or everyone has to understand. Someone can, I mean, they can easily catch it up, but for some people, it's very difficult because it demands some prerequisites. I think you know, right? Like Linux, Ubuntu, these C++, Python, all these things. If they have this foundation, then only they can start with rows. So commonly, what I'm doing is I will start from this foundation. Like I will teach Ubuntu, Python, all these thing. I will give an idea, and then start with rows. So, from my experience, it's not easy. It's not easy to teach rows, and it's not easy to learn rows as well. They are struggling, and some people are like hardworking, so they can able to do projects around it. Some people quit. Obviously, after paying the fee and all, they will quit. I can understand that. Some people will get busy after taking the course. They will get busy and they will not come. So this is the scenario. Success rate in the sense, the people who completes the course will be 40 to 60 percentage maximum. That is the success rate. Yeah.
That's a good success rate as compared to our platform. The thing that I wanted to bring to is, let's rephrase the question. Who is your ideal student according to the performance, according to the concepts? That's what I want to bring to the audience.
Yeah. I can explain that. Actually, I got some very good students, by the way. I think in the last learning path or something. So that guy is very good in the sense like he will immediately catch everything, all the concept, and I will give assignments. He will immediately do. Didn't have any idea about ROS or something, but he's good in programming and problem solving. So he created an open source project called Diffbot, and it is having I think 200 250 stars in GitHub. So he's very good. So I could able to find some good people, by the way, but not everyone are like that. Like if I'm lucky, I mean, when I'm starting a course, if I'm lucky, I will get a few good students. So
Okay.
they are good in problem solving and programming. So that
Okay.
is the skills I have found in them.
I think I should be taking a class of yours as well, because a live class of such a technical thing is quite hard, and definitely a lot of effort goes into it. So I want to ask about a person's level of understanding about ROS. How we can categorize this. This is sort of a beginner. Then this is intermediate. Then this is advanced person.
Okay, so a beginner, they may heard about rows and they know something, some concept. I mean, the intermediate means they could able to create some application maybe by looking Google or ChatGPT or anything. They can able to prototype. And advanced means like they can able to like contribute to the projects. They can able to contribute to the open source projects that is available. Maybe contributing to the core ROS packages. So that may be the advance, I will say.
Open robotics,
Yeah.
as you have an interaction with that on the persons inside of it, do they provide opportunities to the people who are getting started when they contribute to ROS and they become a maintainer? Does that helps in the careers?
Contributing to the core ROS packages or contributing with Open Robotics, definitely a plus, I will say. If you are in US or Singapore, if you can take an internship in Open Robotics, you can learn a lot, and you can, find people, and that, they will definitely help you to find other job after the internship, and so getting or doing some project with Open Robotics or some kind of collaboration is obviously useful for a beginner.
Coming to the next part, taking a look at the AI landscape that is coming, and a lot of AI programming help is coming as well. ChatGPT was something, but now AI IDEs are coming up. Do you think that they are going to help beginners, intermediates, advance quickly into robotics, or that is just not for people who are starting out?
Yeah, so AI tools definitely accelerating the development. I am a developer who is actively using AI tools currently. Like, like if you are working on a ROS application and if you find some errors or bugs or something, or if you need some kind of template, searching in Google will take more time. Like you will be searching in Google and you will be getting a link, and then you have to like find out the sections, but ChatGPT can easily like show, hey, this is the snippet and you can take it. So I definitely think that AI tools can accelerate. But before starting with the AI tools, I think you should have some basic understanding and then you can easily get started with this. But again, I'm saying you can learn the basic from the ChatGPT itself. If you simply ask how to learn rows or what are the basics, you can learn it from it. AI tools, it will definitely help.
Looking at the trends with the AI, things are changing. A lot of software development is getting very easy. A person who gets grip a little bit on the concepts, on the framework of ROS, let's say. So, what is time coming for robotics development? Because things can be produced quickly with the help of ChatGPT and other tools that we have.
Yeah,
Need a
so
prediction from you.
when I'm comparing my works previously, without the AI and with AI, I found that it is faster. Obviously, it is accelerating. And one disadvantage in the sense, the limitation is it's not the latest. Okay. For example, if you're working on Rose to Jassy and if you need some specific question to answer, it can't able to because the latest model is not trained for that. And we can't completely believe the code or completely trust the ChatGPT code because yesterday I was just asking to ChatGPT create a URDF file, okay, with some specification, and when I try to visualize it, it's not the thing. I mean, it is wrong. The axis is different, and I was taking that file and modifying it. So for modification, we need some knowledge, right? We can't completely trust, but if you know something about rows, it will definitely accelerate. So my projects definitely, improved. The time of development definitely improved. I remember the last project I was working, I could able to create the prototype within 1 day. That may be taking like 4 or 5 days without AI tools. And I remember one guy who doesn't have any idea about rows, just not any idea, a basic idea. He could able to prototype a complete application using ChatGPT. So
That's
it
great.
is it is catching up.
It's catching up. Definitely. A general question comes up as AI is moving very fast, and everyone is using in everything. If someone is not using, they are obviously wasting time because it's really good. It produces a lot of quality. And coming to the point of your books, are you writing another book?
Yeah. I'm working on a book now. Maybe released in May. I'm not revealing the title and all. Yeah, but it is focusing on Rose 2, by the way. Yeah, obviously only Rose 2. Yeah,
Okay. The thing that I wanted to focus on is things are changing quickly. So
yeah,
when you release a book, again after 6 months, things get changed.
yeah.
So how do you keep up with this change? And How do you think about this?
Yeah, it's actually very relevant question. I also know that the AI is, I mean, changing everything. So what I am seeing is the book can be take it as a reference or something. Okay, obviously you can get everything from ChatGPT. The book is like a structured documentation, so so that you will get like how to proceed. Nowadays, because of the AI, books doesn't create much value, but it can create a structure for you. Like once you have the instruction, you can follow, and then if you have any doubts in the book, you can directly go to the ChatGPT and ask question. So it will be giving some direction mainly. That's it. I'm not saying like these books will be the ultimate source of wisdom or something, but it can be give some direction how to start for an intermediate kind of developer.
Coming to the tech stacks and robotics, there is computer vision. There is, I think, the most important one that is an external field that joins is computer vision, right? And there is one more thing regarding the autonomy behavior of the software as well. But first, we will focus on the computer vision side. How important is it, and how much effort one should be putting it in the start of learning robotics?
Computer vision again, 2D and 3D, point cloud library, all these things. So I will say robotics and the computer vision are very close, because in most of the robotics application we need a camera for feedback or for some detection. So it's actually very important to learn. So the popular library you can have a look like OpenCV. It is for the classical image processing algorithm like you can get, and obviously the latest AI stacks. A lot of AI frameworks are coming, right? A lot of models are coming, and you can integrate all these framework to rows. It's basically like that stack, that framework is using for the detection, and it is giving some values to the rows nodes, and it will be doing some decision based on that. So understanding vision is important. I'm just saying it again. It will be good to have a knowledge of OpenCV, PCL, Open3D, then PyTorch, obviously. So it is very close. I mean, the robotics and the vision part, like AI. I mean, all these things are in, I will say, it's very close to each other.
Thinking about AI part and the computer vision part, what I experienced is most of the people directly just create a smaller simulation and directly shift to AI part. So, what do you suggest to those people? Are they doing fine because more projects of the computer vision are available, or how should they be looking towards it?
So you mean to say, like, after doing the simulation, they are shifting to the AI?
Yes.
Can you specify, like,
What I mean is, they produce a basic simulation and they produce
okay,
a
for the
basic
robot?
robotics project. Yes,
Okay.
and then they directly
Oh,
understand
then going
the
to the AI. Oh, okay, okay,
yes.
okay. Okay, so if you ask me, like, it will be better to have a knowledge on the basic framework like OpenCV, PCL, and then go to the AI. It may be good. So you will get to know, okay, there is a framework called OpenCV. It can do some basic task like color detection, motion detection. For doing that, we don't need the AI based model, by the way. For AI, if you want to use AI, or some applications require like LLM, there are many detection models, right? So YOLO, you know it, right? The YOLO model. So I will say a lot of tasks can be done with the basic library like OpenCV, Point Cloud Library. If you really need it, then go to this, because there are many frameworks available and we don't need to know everything. But you should be in a position where you can learn everything based on the requirement. So that's why I mentioned, like, you have to be a problem solver and you have to be a quick learner. You should be a person who know how to efficiently search in Google and also ChatGPT. So you can quickly learn stuff and adapt, because tech is rapidly changing. You can't learn
Definitely.
everything. Like if you are thinking like you know everything about Rose or something, that is not enough. That is not enough. You need to learn everything, because last 2 years the Isaac Sim, you know, right? The Isaac Sim came. So it's a very pretty new framework. So whoever learns that fast will be the experienced person.
From specifically from your experience, you have some requirements, and those requirements are most of the time what I experience is they are not very clear, and they miss a lot of important stuff that shows up when you are developing it. How do you deal with that? And if there is any example that you want to share, that would be great.
Yeah, so again, a relevant question that can happen for most of the project because the client will approach us and give some requirement and it may not be complete. First thing that I'm doing is I will talk to client, and take more notes and try to make the requirement more detailed. And after that, I will be starting with the simulation. I will not directly jump into the hardware. I will say to the clients that we can create a proof of concept using the simulation, maybe using Isaac Sim or Gazebo, and then client will get an idea how the system looks like, and then he will be giving the changes or modification. So after that, we will be going to the prototyping, the actual prototyping. So this is the method that I am following. So detailed documentation, then simulation, then the hardware.
And as you mentioned earlier, sometime ROS is not the requirement as well. So you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
do
yeah,
build it from scratch as well.
yeah.
This is very important because when we are starting out, the most important thing is ROS is robotics. But
It's just a framework, just a framework. I really just started with Rose because I really like the framework. So I can integrate the robotics application with an open source framework. That's how I started with the Rose framework. But most of the people are thinking like Rose is everything. Or using ROS framework, you learned about robotics. It's not that the case. But a lot of companies, lot of research institution demand this skill,
okay.
but you need to know how the robots work. The theory part of it is very difficult. It's very complex. If you try to understand any algorithm that we are using in rows, you understand how difficult the robotics is. So the research side of robotics is very complex. The engineering side is not that difficult. This is my experience actually.
And I would second that because for the reason that algorithm creation is itself very complex. And now
Very
coming
complex, very
towards the
complex.
AI part, things are almost of that quality that a lot of models can do a lot of complex things. But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
start creating algorithms from the very scratch, it's going to take time, and a lot of resources should be provided
yeah,
for
yeah,
optimal
exactly.
results as well. In robotics, I found a very important aspect of simulation. Everyone
Yeah.
talks about simulation for the reason that we have to first test things and then come to hardware. Although there is a lot of gap in between these two things. Simulation requires 3D modeling and creation of the world. How do you cope up with this? Because in Gazebo, low quality 3D models and low quality sensor data, and then shifting to hardware, again, a different thing. So, how do you cope up with these things?
Yeah, so simulation definitely help you to build a proof of concept. That is the main thing. And why I'm sticking mostly in Gazebo because the Isaac sim is actually very good, the realistic rendering and everything. But there is a system requirement for that, and maybe we may have the system requirement to run it, but the client may don't have that requirement, and I may need to ask the client to change the requirement. So what I found was the Gazebo is one thing that we can easily show. It will work on almost all the computer, even in the VMware. We can make it work. You mentioned that it is low quality graphics, yeah, but for some project, we just need to show the working. We don't need to worry about the realistic nature of it or the accuracy of the sensor data. It just has to work. That's it. So in that case, Gazebo is better. But if you want to do some good rendering, if you want to show rendered video to an investor, then obviously the good choice is Isaac Sim OD. I think there is a simulator, right? OD3 or something. I forgot the name.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my method. Yeah,
I also think about that in a similar way that if the graphics are good, that might be secondary priority. But first
yeah,
thing is to do the project.
yeah.
And
It has to
obviously,
work.
Isaac Sim, it has to work. And Isaac Sim, on the other hand, has amazing graphics.
Yeah,
But once I was trying to work upon it, and I was unable to run on my RTX system, although it's 11th generation. I have to buy Amazon Cloud Server and then
exactly.
make it work.
Yeah, so my
And
experiences, I changed my laptop. I changed my laptop. I have RTX 4060 8 GB of VRAM, and
okay.
I had 16 GB of RAM, and then it was not enough. I switched to 32 GB now, and so it's like changing the requirement of the PC. I'm completely changed my PC.
Coming to the part of future, and I want to bring the past as well. When you were starting out, if you are given the tools that are currently available, ChatGPT and other available AI tools, how do you think you should be learning robotics?
Good question. So when I was trying to learn Rose, obviously the main resource was wiki.rose. The wiki.rose was the main resource, and it is cluttered and it is having some information, but it's very difficult to learn. And
Mhm.
there was some blogs, very few blogs about Rose. So that's why I started working on Rose blogs from 2010-11 time. I started creating, and I got a lot of views, by the way, during that, because there was not enough resources. And then the books came in, and that also got a lot of attention, because people were like trying to learn stuff, and wiki was not enough. Wiki having the knowledge but doesn't have an structured way of content. A book is having those kind of structures, so that's how it is popular. But if I have these AI tools, then the learning become faster. I will say learning become faster and efficient, I will say. And yeah, so these are the two words I can use: fast and efficient.
I want you to put a little bit effort on this. I want sort of a clear pathway to a person who is starting right now with the AI tools, that how he can get started. One idea that I can extract from your the last things that you mentioned: get the wiki and use AI tools to get clear information. Is there
Yeah,
something
that
else
is
that you
that
want
is
to
a
add?
way. Yeah, that is a way. Or you can simply use the AI tools like how to learn rows. So it will be giving up with some suggestion, and then you can ask to ChatGPT again and again. So it will be showing it, and then practice it. And then I will say, like, you can also watch some video, YouTube video. I mean, you have some video and robotics backend. Yeah, so there are a lot of YouTube videos are there, so you can watch those to get an idea like how to implement these stuff. Because ChatGPT is just showing some text, right? So by reading the text, it may not be that faster. Something maybe you can watch the video and get it faster. So YouTube videos along with ChatGPT may be good. Yeah.
Thank you, Lenton, for your time and a lot of insights that you have provided with your experiences and the effect that your books have already done to the people. So that's we cannot count that, we cannot measure that. Anything that you want to bring to the audience?
Okay, I mean, I don't have any particular things to say, but maybe if you want to learn rows or something, like as you ask, like the AI tools are efficient, and books may be giving a direction, like how to proceed with the learning, maybe like a reference that you can keep. And then there are many courses like from Mohammed, or like there are courses from YouTube, Udemy. So you can have a look. All these courses will help you, or to guide how to proceed with it. And I mean, last not the least, like the AI or the tech is rapidly changing. So by learning a single framework like ROS or OpenCV doesn't it's not enough. So rather than learning all the framework, you have to be a person who can solve the problem faster and adapt quickly or learn quickly. So that is the main skill that you have to develop in this age. Otherwise, you will be outdated, including me. So this is the challenge even I am actually facing, because I have written books. So what? I mean, that doesn't ensure my career, right? I mean, I have written some books, I will get some project, but at some time, if I'm not updating myself, I will be outdated. So this is the reality. So keep updating your knowledge, keep building your portfolio, because tech is it's that competitive. It's not easy. The robotics is not that competitive like other tech, like AI or something. But I don't know, like it's still very difficult to cope up with, because a lot of people are there to do job. So it's very difficult to survive. You have to be updated every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. These are very important things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And we are also looking forward to the book that you are bringing in the next year. And thank you again for your time
Yeah,
and the insights that you have
thank you,
provided.
Mohammed, for calling me. So you mentioned, long before, but because of some projects and some deadlines, I couldn't I mean, I couldn't show up. So
No
yeah,
problem.
I'm very happy to share or discuss with you. And I am also following you for the tutorial, all this stuff, and
Okay,
the
great.
Udemy courses. What you are doing is also very good.
Thank
So
you.
keep the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.